Hey, what's going on, OKC Thunder fans? We got another W, so that makes 5 in a row going into the Wizards game. So that is some good momentum right there. Last night, OKC played the Nets and they beat them 109 to 108. I know, it was a close game. And if you watch this game, then in the second quarter, you probably were smacking yourself in the head, because I don't know what was happening there. But OKC pulled it together, got the W. There were a few things that happened in this game that I want to talk about. The first being that the Nets low-key have a squad. They should probably be doing much better in the league, but they have had some injuries. I think there's been some inconsistency, especially in terms of their coaching staff. But what you can tell is that they're going to be rebuilding around D'Angelo Russell and Okafor. So they might be able to get some good pieces over in the Nets roster. And the Nets haven't been in the playoffs in the past 2 seasons. So if they don't make them again this season, definitely in the off season, they will be unloading assets. Some of you mentioned a trade for Dinwiddie. Hello. He played pretty well last night, and actually the difference between the Nets and OKC is that their bench actually scored more points than the starters. Now, clearly we're not expecting that from OKC starters, but we would like them to score. That would be nice. One guy who showed up last night, Raymond Felton. Thank you. Thank you, Felton. Man, that dude always turns it on when he needs to. He's like a pit bull. Like, I love his grit and his just hard work. He's always talking. He's always cheering on his teammates. Like, he's just a good teammate. So Felton showed up in the third quarter. He had 11 points back to back. Russ was hype. I don't know if you noticed, but he gave him mad ups. You know, Russ is the type of dude where if you're playing hard and you're scoring and you're doing what you need for your team to get everyone involved, he is going to be your biggest supporter, your biggest fan. So we saw that when Felton was killing it in the third quarter. And if Felton didn't do that, guess what? OKC would have lost because Carmelo Anthony had 10 dismal points. He did other things, he had some rebounds, he had a block, which of course are always great to fill up the stat sheet, but he wasn't scoring. So Russ and PG really took the weight of that, and Adams. The bench is still not doing what they need to do, but luckily our defense has been solid. On the Nets side of things, they're pushing the ball, running their plays, hustling back. The one stat from the box score that jumped out at me is how many turnovers they had. And the turnovers that the Nets had was the difference between OKC winning and losing. For whatever reason, they kept stepping out of bounds. It wasn't even like the Thunder were applying pressure. They just, I don't know, maybe the line in OKC is like not right enough, but they could not figure out where the court started and where it ended. So they stepped out of bounds a few times there and caused several turnovers. The Nets, I guess, star player is Jeremy Lin, and I use that term loosely, but he is out for the season. So they didn't have Jeremy Lin. They do have Quincy Acey, who's also been, he's a pretty aggressive player. He played on the Knicks for some time. So I think he does some he's pretty good for them. So yeah, the Nets left to be seen. The one thing about Brooklyn is that their fans have a lot of heart. They just built this new stadium. It's an attractive market. So we'll see who they get in the offseason because they do have some pieces there. Their record has not been great. It's now that they lost to The Thunder, they're 18-30. So, yeah, that's crazy. But the crazier part is that the East is so all over the place that they're actually neck and neck with a few other teams, if you can even picture that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for them. Some other good things that I saw from OKC last night. They're pushing the tempo. Of course, I don't know if you watched the game, but in the last few seconds, Russ hit this layup to push them out ahead. And actually, that one layup was the difference in the paint. We're still not getting into the paint as much as we need to. And when our threes aren't hitting, which threes weren't hitting last night, and it happens, if threes aren't hitting, we have to get to the paint. And actually, this is the difference that I'm seeing with these subpar teams. For whatever reason, the subpar teams have been better at defending the 3-point shot. And when you take away the 3-point shot, that hurts teams. So that is hurting OKC. They are not figuring out what to do when that 3-point shot is not available or when it's not dropping. So that is another thing that we have to focus on for some of these games coming forward. The next game is against the Wizards, and there's been a lot of talk about the Wizards. A lot of analysts are just not understanding why they can't get it together, and some people think that John Wall is being discussed in trade discussions. So we will see what happens in that game. One other thing that I want to talk about, just because it's been publicized pretty well, and that is what Russell Westbrook said about Paul George not getting an all-star reserve spot. And what do I think about that? I think exactly how Russ put it. The one thing that I'll say about him is that when it comes down to like these silly questions that reporters ask, yeah, he'll give you one word, he'll give you something really brief. But when he's talking, you need to listen, because he knows what he's talking about. And the way that he frames his words, also something that you should listen to, because it's very smart. He doesn't incriminate anyone, but he's insinuating. I mean, he knows what team has 4 players on the roster. Golden State Warriors. We know there's some bad blood between him and KD, but I don't even think that was it. I think it's like, okay, everyone's talking about what's fair for this all-star game, and there's been all these changing of rules and how guys get elected onto the team. But now you're allowing 4 players from the same squad to be on the same team. To be in the all-star game. And you have guys like DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis, who the Pelicans are 6th seed. They're not 5th seed in the Western Conference. But then you have, just Jimmy Butler, and the Timberwolves are doing really well. So it doesn't really make any sense. He also brought up Damian Lillard, who, like a crybaby, was saying, oh, I didn't get in. This is bull, And then Jalen Rose made this statement saying, like, pleading for him to get in. To me, that's tampering. You want to talk about tampering? You want to talk about tampering from other teams? That's tampering. You're having an analyst go on television and plead a case for you. That is absolutely ridiculous. And if you saw what Carmelo Anthony said, and Paul George said that, Melo put it best, he's like, bro, we came from the East. You know how the West is. Like, Melo played for the Nuggets, so he knows. He was like, we put these teams on our backs in the East, so we made it to the All-Star game. But this year it's not the case. Russ almost didn't get in. Russ, the reigning MVP, almost did not get into the All-Star game. So, I don't know. Listen, like they said, it is what it is. I just wanted to regurgitate what was said, and the word outrageous was used many times. So I will reiterate that. It is simply outrageous. Anyway, enough about that. Just wanted to say my piece on the game last night. Please write any comments that you saw that you thought looked good, and anything else as to why OKC is struggling so badly against these subpar teams, please. Any insight that you have for that would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, I've really enjoyed the conversations that I've been having with all of you. Thank you for taking time out of your days to write some comments and some of your insight, because it's been helping me also see how other people see the pieces and see what's going on, so I can better express that to all of you. So have a great day. Great win. We're on a 5-game winning streak, and I will be back to talk about the game against the Wizards on the 25th. Thunder up.